Stig, another week and some big news. I guess the biggest one obviously is Ryan McLean and his transfer to Wimbledon. And I guess the overall feeling is kind of congratulations to Ryan on a move to the Football League.
Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable opportunity for Ryan, to be honest with you. I think we said a couple of weeks ago that we'd had a previous offer for him that we'd accepted because understandably he'd expressed a desire to move into full-time football if he possibly could, and we'd accepted a previous offer. It all went a bit quiet on that offer, but then earlier this week, obviously AFC Wimbledon came into him with an offer that was at the same value as the one we previously accepted, and we quickly discussed it and felt it was the right thing to do for both the club and for Ryan to accept it. And it's a fantastic opportunity for him. I called him actually when it was all kind of agreed and sorted and we knew it was going to go through, and just had a chat with him, and you could tell how excited he was. And he said, I've never had the opportunity to be full time before. A lot of players at this level or at our level have come out of professional clubs after scholarships and that sort of stuff, or have had careers in professional football. Ryan's never had that opportunity, and this will be a first for him, and he's got himself a really good move to a really strong club, obviously with a great ethos. And really pleased him. And he was understandably excited, and equally, I think it's a good deal for us as well. It reflects well on us that we've had a player move on to the Football League after spending a couple of years with us. He's done really well for us during his time at Edgar Street. Obviously, he was always a threat with his pace, and I just think it's a good news story all round for both Ryan and for the club, because the fact that we've got a fee in for him, that can go to Paul, and the wages freed up through Ryan leaving that were in place for the rest of the season, that can go to Paul, and Paul can reinvest that in areas of the field that he now wants to strengthen.
We don't want a reputation of a selling club, but we want to get a reputation of being a club that can kind of breed youngsters and give them the opportunity to progress their career.
Yeah, 100%. And you have to accept you're at a certain level. Clearly, if you can bring your own players through and get some good service out of them, they're only going to move to other clubs because they've done well for you, which theoretically means the club is doing well as well. So you've got to be looking to do that. And these are young players, these are young careers, and opportunities are out there for them. And I don't. In some ways, as long as you get a fair price for somebody and you're treated respectfully, and I can't speak highly enough of the way Ryan's been since he's been at the football club, then why wouldn't you try to look after people, especially at this point of and at this stage of the season when you're in pre-season, it's much easier because you have the time to go and seek a replacement and that type of thing. But I think it's the right thing to do, on behalf of the player, but equally from the club, it worked for us in terms of the deal that we got in for him, and I think it was a decent one.
Another player that we've spoken openly about is Aaron Holloway. Obviously, Paul's mentioned it a few times, and it looks like a deal is it's now done for him to leave the club as well.
Yeah, it's a complex situation with Aaron. Obviously, we all know how well he played last year, particularly in the second half of the season when he switched to centre half, and he deservedly won Player of the Season. There have been changes over the summer. Clearly, there's been a change in the management team after Josh left, towards the end of last season. The training situation has changed. It's gone to evenings from daytimes. And Aaron was quite open with Paul about the difficulties that he might encounter with the changes and how it was looking, and that he openly wanted to see if there were any other opportunities for him. The talks have continued this week. Pre-season training started on Tuesday, and Aaron was at pre-season training and had another chat with Paul. And I think in the end, it sort of became clear to all of us that it was maybe in the best interests of all parties that if we could sort of reach an agreement to sort of terminate his contract and end his contract early, it means we can move on with the football club with the sort of money that had been set aside for Aaron to reinvest in the squad, and it will allow Aaron to go away and hopefully try and fix himself up with a club that's more suits kind of the rest of his life and everything else that he's going on. And we wish him all the best, because he was great for us last year. He was outstanding. There's no doubts over his ability certainly as a central defender in that second half of the season. He didn't obviously play up front as much as was the original intention when he was brought in, but I think sometimes you have to just just look at the bigger picture and make a decision on it. And I think it's in the best interests of all parties for everybody to move on. Say thank you to Aaron. It allows Paul to move on with his squad building, and hopefully Aaron can go and get himself fixed up. And we're sad to see him go, because he, a very good player and played very well in central defence. But sometimes it's not all about the football, and there's a bigger picture here that we've been supportive of Aaron and allowed him to move on.
Season ticket sales, obviously, we've exceeded the 1,000 mark, which beats last season's total of 984. So we're delighted about that. Obviously, sales have slowed a bit after the end of the early bird, which is to be expected, and kind of historically there'll be a bit of a lull now before a week or two before the season when they start to sell a little bit more as well. But it's a fantastic total to get to so far. We should hopefully get to about 1,100, and it's a big help for the budget, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I don't think it would be a shock for me to say that it's exceeded expectations in terms of what we felt we might get, what we might sell. Obviously, we're always hopeful because we know what a good supporter base that we've got. But if we get to 1,100, that's a fantastic effort. It's not like we're coming off of the back of a season where we were incredibly successful and and won lots and lots and lots of games, and we're always competing at the top end of the table. So it's just it's a fantastic effort from our fans. I can't thank them enough for the support they've shown and thrown behind the club. It gives us a really good, solid base to work from as we go into the season in terms of our planning, and knowing there's a bit of stability behind the scenes and that sort of stuff, which is, nobody wants to talk about that side of things. It's not particularly glamorous, is it? But it is really, really important that we have got that solid base to work from. And I'm so grateful to people. Obviously, we're moving into the pre-season sort of friendly phase now within the next week, which I can't quite believe, actually, Jay, as I'm talking to you right now. And I would again encourage supporters. We've got a couple of really attractive pre-season friendlies against West Brom under 21s, and against Swindon Town. And actually, the more people that turn up for those and come and have a look at the new players, that all helps as well, because that can have a really big impact on where we are moving forward. So yeah, I hope people are really looking forward to seeing the new players. I know I am. Sadly, I've got a pre-booked holiday in the middle of the pre-season fixtures, but there's not a lot I can do about that. But I have to rely on my son to be sneakily looking at Twitter and providing me with updates and that sort of stuff. But yeah, really, really looking forward to it. Training started this week. They've had 2 sessions, or this week, Tuesday, Thursday this week, which I'm told have gone really, really well. Paul seems really happy. He sort of had his signings really at the first session on Tuesday, but I think there were some trialists at last night's session, and again that went well, and he said the lads looked sharp, and it was good. I'm sure for Paul it was quite nice to actually get out and start doing the sort of the meat of his job, rather than all the background office related stuff and things he's been doing. He's probably allowed him to get off his phone for 3 hours and stop looking at players, I guess, wasn't it, while he did the training session.
I messaged him on the Tuesday before the first one, just saying, I bet you can't wait. And yeah, he said this is what it's about. Being a manager is about being out on the grass with the players. So yeah, I know he really enjoyed Tuesday's session, and they're training again tomorrow. So I'm going to pop along and have a look. So I can't wait just to see kind of some of those players, like you said. So yeah, it's really good at the minute.
We've had an exciting couple of weeks, haven't we? We brought Jason Cowley. Jason Cowley's come in. I can't quite remember if we've spoken about that, but Jason Cowley coming in with bringing a great goal scoring record, and then Paul's kind of got Adam Rooney in to come and help him as player assistant manager, and you just see the pieces fitting together a little bit, and it just get you thinking, oh, this is going to be good. I'm really looking forward to seeing the reality of what happens when they get on the field of play.
Well, the 3 forward players there, Andy Williams, Jason Cowley, and Rooney, it's a bit crazy, really. There should be some goals and a bit of entertainment next season. Yeah,
well, let's hope so. We certainly on paper we're looking at it and thinking, oh, you take that at this level, wouldn't you? In fairness, and they're all, you look at the way they play, and they're all going to bring different facets to the game and that sort of stuff. So yeah, no, really exciting. And I just, I've been reading about all the players who's been bringing them in, and the lads I don't know anything about, and you're sort of thinking, oh, I like the sound of him. That should be good to see what he looks like. You never know, do you, what happens with a squad that's been put together? But Paul's you can see he's had a very specific plan about the type of character and the type of player and the type of skills he's looking for. So yeah, no, so really interesting times, Jamie. And I'll see you all at Peggy a week on Saturday.
Obviously, squad builder. we don't say, you know, it's got 25,000 now. We don't say that's managed to pay for a particular player, but it has really helped Paul bring in the type of players that he's wanted, maybe particularly the last kind of 2 or 3 signings.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing with Squad Builder is we're able to release those funds to Paul almost immediately once they land and once we've got them, because they are set aside specifically for Paul to use in terms of his playing budget. So when they come in, it's a bit like, well, there's no point in that sitting there sort of, gathering dust is not the quite right thing to say. So Paul clearly doesn't have to use the funds, but they are there for him to use if they want to. And certainly 1 or 2 of the more recent deals, without that squad builder money, it was what was able to tip the balance and get them over the line. So I can't thank supporters enough for that, and I'm sure Paul the same would thank supporters for their support. And we're halfway towards our target of £50,000, and absolutely magnificent if we could get to the £50,000, because again, it just helps Paul have so many more options. And if there's money in that pot he thinks he needs to invest somewhere during the course of the season, he's got it. So if anyone out there who feels they can help us and add a little bit more to that, it's absolutely brilliant, and it does have a direct influence on what you will see with your own eyes on a Saturday afternoon and a Tuesday night. Sorry, I've got Tuesdays as well.
Yeah, obviously the end of June is when we're going to do the first draw for the squad builder. Obviously, everyone who enters the squad builder gets entered into the prize draw each month, and we're going to hopefully kind of announce in the coming days a few kind of unique experiences, if you like.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan. We want to make, there will be some sort of more, if you like, normal sort of traditional run-of-the-mill prizes that we'll obviously put in, but we really want to try and make some extra special prizes. I'm not sure I'll quite convince Paul to let a fan play up front in a pre-season friendly, but we'll have a crack at that and see what happens. But certainly we'd like to do something, something that you can't just get as a fan in normal circumstances, something particularly special. So there is not a reward isn't exactly the right word, but you do get a special prize which really expresses the club's gratitude, for people that are invested in the squad builder.
Obviously, the first pre-season game, 8th of July here. One of the massive key parts of that is the pitch, and Ben has worked wonders yet again with the pitch. He invited me to walk on it this morning. Every time he says, come on the pitch, I'm like, I can't go on the pitch. I feel really guilty, but we had a walk out on the pitch, and it's looking in most parts really good. He's cutting it again this weekend, and I think he's going to spray it as well. So he's happy, and he always manages to get the pitch pretty much perfect, doesn't he?
He's happy, did you say?
Honestly,
that'll be a first. Jamie, there's a lot of things that have changed at the club since I left in 2016, but Ben Bowen's mood is not one of them. He is still as grumpy as he ever used to be. I mean,
I would say
he smiled yesterday, and I was quite concerned about what was going on.
Exactly, he's been happy at least twice.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah,
But
yeah, no, he was amazing, because I was at the club. I was at the club yesterday, and it'd been, I think, probably a week or 7 or 8 days since I'd been over before. And the pitch looks like we brought a completely new one in. It's suddenly gone all green. You can't see the drainage lines that you could see a week before. So, yeah, I know he's the one person in the country who basically spends his life praying for rain, isn't he, Benbow? So yeah, but no, it's on track. It's looking really good. There was a couple of issues with the centre area of the pitch, but I think now the water's getting to that. That's making a big difference to it. And although he's moaning about the fact we've got early pre-season friendlies rather than later ones, and I think he just does it for impact and effect, to be perfectly honest, but I'm sure he'll have it all sorted and looking as good as ever come those games at the start of the season.
He always moans we don't give him long enough with the pitch, but he always gets the pitch in a playable condition. So we're just going to keep cutting it by a week every time. I think next season we'll just give him 2 weeks.
Only happy when he's moaning, Jamie. That's what I think about him, to be honest.
Credit to him though, little things like one of the system for the sprinkler, a part broke, which meant that they weren't popping up automatically or stopping. So he's been coming in like 7 in the morning and 8 o'clock at night to do it manually until the part arrives. So he does go above and beyond, and we like to have we like to take the mickey out of him, but we love him really, don't we?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I did actually joke with him, and you shouldn't joke about this type of thing, but I did actually say if it wasn't for Hereford Football Club, his marriage wouldn't have survived, because he's always at art. Because if he was spending more time at home, imagine living with him. So we did have a bit of a crack about that yesterday. So, but yeah, no, he's been absolutely brilliant from day one, hasn't he? I hark back to the pitch he inherited when we first relaunched the club back in the day. It was utterly ridiculous, but he managed to turn that round and get it sorted. And every summer he's chomping at the bit after that last game to get on the pitch and start the refurbishment so he can get it into the right place for the start of the season. So yeah, big thanks to Ben and the others that help him out on occasions as well. He does a great job for us, like so many people do. So a big thank you to him.
Yeah, another key part is the stadium, and the volunteers are busy as ever, repainting areas. They painted the Hereford Suite again, just freshen that up. They're around the ground, painting and cleaning, trying to get everything ready for pre-season. So a big thank you to them as well.
Yeah, huge thank you to them. I caught up with a few of them last week. Actually, I quite liked it because they got wind of the Jason Cowley deal before we were able to announce it, because he came to the stadium, didn't he, on that day, and they were able to see him. And I did kind of think, well, that's quite nice for the volunteers to get a little sneaky preview of a new signing and things. So that was quite nice. But yeah, no, they do a great job. They go about it with a smile on their face, and they just such an important role for a club like ours. Any club at our level, you can't be paying to get all these jobs done. It's just not feasible. So to have so many committed volunteers helping us out, it's, you or I can never thank them enough, Jamie, but I hope they always know that they're hugely appreciated, and we try and make a fuss of them as much as we can, always make a point of trying to thank them whenever we can. So yeah, they're fantastic, and we would be stuck without them, genuinely.
Brilliant. I think that's about all we've got to talk about this week. We'll try and catch up again next week, I guess. We'll shortly have football to talk about as well.
Can you imagine? That's what we're all here for at the end of the day, isn't it? We'll actually have football to talk about. So no, really exciting times. It's been an interesting summer. I've certainly come in, and it's not surprised me how much there is going on and how much there is to deal with, but it's kind of been a bit of a baptism of fire over the course of the last 2 or 3 months. And without breaking the record for the most world record amount of thank yous ever produced by one man in a short period of time, I would like to say thank you to everybody who's sort of offered support and sent messages over the past few months. I think it's nice that there appears to be a good level of positivity across the club at the moment. I kind of feel at the moment I've had it quite easy in terms of the way I've been received. I have suggested to 1 or 2 people perhaps we should be a non-football playing football club, and then hopefully I'll avoid the abuse longer term. But I don't think we'll get away with that. I think sadly we will have to commit to playing football matches, which obviously that is the unknown that you're always dealing with. But I think we've got a good man in place at the helm right now, and he's doing a great job. He seems to understand where we are as a club, what we are as a club, really values what's important to us and the supporters. So really looking forward to seeing how things progress over the next few weeks. And the fixtures come out on the 5th of July, don't they? So that's not far away.
That's next week. It's crazy, isn't it? So soon be here, and then we can plan. You can't plan your life until you get the fixtures out. So my wife's trying to get us away camping and things. I'm like, I don't know where the fixtures are yet. We can't plan anything. So
she finds your Google search for campsites near Scunthorpe. She'll be absolutely delighted, won't she?
I remember camping in Southport once in the pouring rain. I think it must have been a Friday night just to watch the football. We need our minds read, don't we? But there we are.
Yeah, absolutely right. My wife still moans about it when I suggested a weekend in the Lake District when we lived in Manchester, and then on the Friday I went, blooming heck, Hereford are playing at Morecambe in the FA Trophy tomorrow. Maybe we could go. I think she saw straight through my plan of attack, but all good.